Walk into almost any dealer lot in America right now and count the bikes. Then count the buyers. The gap between those two numbers is the whole story of 2026. 6 machines are being quietly pushed out the door before the 2027 inventory lands, and the last one on this list is a bike I'd genuinely buy tomorrow. Number 6. Harley-Davidson Nightster. $9,999. That's the sticker. That's also the cheapest way to put a brand new Harley in your garage, and dealers still can't move them fast enough. Here's why that number matters. The Nightster runs a 975cc liquid-cooled V-twin, which is a very different animal from the air-cooled Sportster it replaced. Liquid cooling means it doesn't turn your right thigh into a rotisserie in stop-and-go traffic. On a 90-degree afternoon crawling through town, that single engineering choice changes the entire ownership experience. But that's exactly the problem. The riders who wanted a Sportster wanted the old one. Ask around on any Harley forum and you'll find the same complaint repeated 1,000 times. It doesn't sound like a Sportster. It doesn't shake like a Sportster. And to a lot of longtime owners, that makes it not a Sportster at all. Honestly, I think they're wrong about the bike and right about the market. This thing handles better than any Sportster ever did. The flaw is the fuel tank. 3.1 gallons under a seat that isn't really a tank at all, which means you're hunting for gas stations at around 110 miles. For a cruiser, that's tight. Now compare it to an Indian Scout bobber sitting 15 feet away in the same showroom. Similar money, more traditional cruiser feel, and a brand that's been aggressive on service pricing. The Scout wins that fight more often than Harley wants to admit. So dealers are sitting on Nightsters in colors nobody ordered, waiting for the 2027 allocation to force their hand. That's when the real discounting starts. Number 5. Kawasaki Ninja 500. Here's a problem almost nobody talks about. The beginner sport bike market died, and the manufacturers didn't notice in time. New riders are buying used. Tariffs pushed new prices up, so demand for 2020 to 2024 bikes climbed somewhere between 10 and 20%, and that money came straight out of showroom sales. Which brings us to the Ninja 500. Base MSRP sits at $5,399 before destination, and by the time it's on the road, you're closer to $6,000. For that, you get a 451cc parallel twin making about 51 horsepower. That number is the whole point. 51 horsepower in a 377-pound package means you can pin the throttle on an on-ramp, merge at 75, and never once feel like the bike is trying to kill you. It's fast enough to be fun and slow enough to survive your own mistakes. The weakness? The suspension. It's basic, non-adjustable at the front, and on a genuinely rough back road, it gets busy underneath you. Spend a weekend in the twisties and you'll feel it. My honest take is that this is still the most sensible first bike Kawasaki has ever built, and it's being punished for arriving in the wrong economy. Compare it to the Aprilia RS 457, which costs more but delivers sharper handling and a far better dash. Buyers who stretch their budget go Italian. Buyers who don't stretch buy used. The Ninja gets squeezed from both directions, so dealers are stacking them 3 deep and quietly cutting deals to make room. Number 4. Honda NX 500. A rider I know spent 2 years shopping adventure bikes. Test rode everything. Came home every single time and said the same thing. Too tall, too heavy, too expensive. Then he sat on an NX 500 and bought it that afternoon. That's the case for this bike in about 11 seconds. Honda dropped the price to $6,899 for 2026, $500 less than before, which tells you everything about how these were selling. The 471cc twin makes around 47 horsepower. On paper, that reads thin for an adventure bike. In practice, at 75 miles an hour on an interstate with a tailbag strapped on, it holds a steady cruise without buzzing your hands numb, and it'll return well over 60 miles per gallon doing it. A 400-mile day on this thing costs almost nothing. Now the real flaw, and it's a big one. The suspension travel and the wheels are road biased. 19-inch front, cast, with limited travel. Take it onto genuine gravel and it's fine. Take it onto anything rocky and you'll wish you'd bought something else. This is a soft roader wearing adventure clothing, and Honda has never been fully honest about that in the marketing. So why do I like it? Because it's the only bike in its class that doesn't demand a 34-inch inseam and a $5,000 accessory budget. Set it against a KTM 390 Adventure, and you get less off-road ability, but far more reliability, and a dealer network that actually exists in small towns. Dealers are clearing these because ADV buyers want the fantasy, not the commuter. Number 3. KTM 390 Adventure. Ask any 390 Adventure owner what the bike is like, and you'll get a grin, genuinely. The 399cc single is one of the most entertaining small displacement engines anyone builds. It revs like it's angry about something, and the 2025 redesign gave it real suspension travel and a proper off-road riding mode. On a fire road, this thing embarrasses machines costing twice as much. Street pricing has been hovering in the mid to high $7,000 range depending on trim and dealer. So what's the problem? The badge. KTM went into self-administration, got bought by Bajaj Auto, and the sales reports since have not been pretty. The company cut global inventory from roughly 248,000 units down to around 147,000. Read that again, that's not a company growing. That's a company draining a warehouse. On top of that, KTM added an import duty surcharge of about 10% to its 390 series, which pushed the price up right when buyers were already nervous. And here's the honest flaw, separate from the corporate drama. Service intervals are tighter than the Japanese competition, and parts have been slow in some regions. That's not a rumor, that's a recurring complaint on owner forums. My opinion? The bike is the best small adventure machine on sale. The ownership risk is real. Against a Honda CB500X or the NX500 we just covered, you're trading peace of mind for capability, and only you know which one you actually value. Dealers are dumping these because buyers are asking one question before they even sit on it. Will this brand be here in 3 years? Number 2. Zero Motorcycles S&DS Platform. Up to $5,000 off, 0% financing, on bikes that were already expensive to begin with. When a manufacturer discounts that hard on 2023 through 2025 stock, they're not being generous. They're clearing a runway. Here's what you actually get for the money. Instant torque from 0 RPM, which in real riding means you leave a line of traffic behind at a green light without touching a gear. No oil changes, no valve adjustments, no warm-up. You plug it in at night the way you plug in a phone, and it's full every morning. For a pure commuter doing 40 miles a day, the running cost is close to nothing. The flaw is the one everybody predicts, and it's still true. Range collapses at highway speed. Ride 75 miles an hour on the interstate, and the number on the dash drops faster than the miles behind you. So long trips require planning that most riders simply don't want to do. There's a second flaw people mention less: resale. Electric motorcycles depreciate hard, and a heavily discounted new one drags used values down with it. My honest opinion is that these are excellent machines aimed at a customer who mostly doesn't exist yet in America. Compared to a Honda Rebel 500 at a fraction of the price, the Zero wins on tech and loses on freedom. That's why dealers want them gone before the 2027 models arrive and make the current stock look even older. Number 1. Suzuki SV650. 99% of bikes on a clearance list are there because something is wrong with them. This one is the exception, and that's exactly why it belongs at number 1. The SV650 has been around since 1999. Same basic 645cc V-twin, same idea. And the reason it sits on dealer floors in 2026 is not quality, it's age. Buyers walk past it because the dash looks old and the styling hasn't moved in years. Here's what they're missing. That V-twin makes around 75 horsepower, but the number that matters is where the torque lives. It pulls hard from low revs, which means on a twisty road you can leave it in third gear and just ride. No frantic downshifting, no chasing the power band. It's the least stressful fast bike I can think of. Real-world price has been landing right around $8,000 depending on ABS and dealer, and with clearance pressure that number is soft. The flaws are honest ones. The suspension is budget spec and the front end dives under hard braking. There's no traction control, no ride modes, no TFT screen. If you want electronics, buy something else. Set it against a Yamaha MT-07, which costs more and gives you a sharper chassis and modern rider aids. The Suzuki gives you a smoother, friendlier engine and one of the deepest aftermarket parts catalogs in motorcycling. Ask any owner and they'll tell you the same thing. Nobody sells theirs. That's the highest compliment a motorcycle gets. So here's the verdict. 5 of these are being cleared because the market moved on. 1 is being cleared because buyers can't see past a dated dash, and that one is the SV650. If I had to spend my own money before the 2027 stock lands, that's the bike, and I'd walk in during the last week of the month. Which of these 6 would you actually put a deposit on? Tell me in the comments. Subscribe if you want the next one before your dealer does.